Oh, hey.
Eh.
Um, it's so like I know I said we were talking beforehand and I was saying how excited I am, but this didn't come through in the intro because your particular introduction feels like a good standalone. Shout out Prince Predator, go ahead, listen to
Mhm.
that music. But you are also my best friend-in-law.
Facts. I
I
haven't heard that
can't
term
take
before, but
credit. I can't take credit for that term. Actually, my wife's best friend refers to me as her best friend-in-law. And I was like, oh, I had
okay.
never heard it before. So anyway, I'm really excited to have you on the podcast.
Excited to
Um,
be here.
it's gonna be a good conversation, y'all. I promise you. So actually. I was just recently because y'all recently got your pictures from
Hmm.
your recently shared your pictures from your wedding that was a lifetime ago.
Oh
And
yeah,
at the time actually of this podcast episode coming out, you would be you're married a year, at the time of this
oh
coming out.
yeah,
So shout out to
absolutely.
y'all. Happy anniversary. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
So when the pictures came, of course you naturally just start reflecting and one of the pictures
Hmm.
is of me reading my part of the toast to you two after the nuptials.
Hmm.
And I was really thinking a lot about like calling you by name and how, I mean, for me, names are super powerful and
Hmm.
they have a lot of meaning. And so just the ability to call you by name. So, anyways, every time I like interact with you, I'm just like, I'm so grateful that, if you're gonna be stuck in my life forever, I might as well like the person,
Right, right.
So shout out to you. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, I want people because folks who are able to see you, you got to give us a little bit of what are we seeing? Tell us something. We got a couple. We got this is your
Yeah.
logo?
So this is my music logo.
Uh-huh.
I can go into a little bit how I created that by
100% if you want
accident.
to do your thing.
But this is just my studio monitors. That's my computer behind me. I don't know if you can see it. That's where I make all the magic. And then this is merch from Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia drop when he dropped that last year. So he's one of my favorite artists. So
Oh, my sister loves
yeah,
Tyler, the Creator. Big fan.
yeah, he's great. He's one of my big inspirations for actually making music. So
Oh, I love that. I
yeah,
didn't know that. That's
yeah,
awesome. Well, I'm really
absolutely.
glad to see that. And I will say, like, I hope that, I mean, no pressure. I hope the music theme comes on through in this conversation. Shout out to your beats and your raps.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So we have made it actually to the final stages, technically the final chapter that would be in this book of Rushing to Adulthood. And we started with rushing. What is rushing? What am I rushing to? What are we rushing to? And what does that look like as we get to that space, wherever we thought we needed to get to? And that cracks kind of formed a little bit. Like, okay, there were myths in the stories y'all told me. That wasn't really 100%. And then how do we start
Mm-hmm.
to pivot to understand that we actually need to return to some of those stories, reshape how we understand what it means to be in this adult life, regardless if you rushed or not, and then move
Hmm.
to a place that we've been in for the last two episodes, which is about just resting. And so we talked about resting, enjoying, and now we have found ourselves at being. And when I
Hmm.
was thinking about who do I want to be in conversation with about this topic, you came first. Like really.
Oh, appreciate
And
that.
I would love to just start by hearing from you. What does it mean in your adult life right now to be it, just generally? And you could take that however you want to.
What does it mean to be? I guess to me, to be just means to basically be yourself, do the things that give you life, and not worry about whatever society's telling you to be. Like, do what makes you feel good, what makes you feel like yourself as a person.
I love that. And it's one of those like duh, like it feels like, of
Yeah.
course we should, but I'm telling you right now, as somebody who's like a recovering people pleaser, shout out to old me who really went through it, but new me.
Hmm.
Not, you heard the recovering part, not a people pleaser, but how did you get there? I mean, not everyone has that resolve that like I'm just gonna be myself regardless. How did you get to that place? Were there particular things that you use? Were there particular tools that you leveraged to get to that place? Or were you like, I just been me the end? Telling
I
people
won't
how we do it. Like
I won't say it was always like that. I think it came with taking routes that were put in front of me that was told were the ones I was supposed to take
mm,
and not resonating with them ultimately and feeling just out of place. And then through trial and error, finding things that did speak to me and made me feel alive, and then kind of diverting my path and trying to find ways to basically make that my life or my lifestyle.
I like that a lot though. Okay, listen, Evan, listen, it's cool. I'm gonna call you by your government.
It's all good. It's all good.
Sorry. I can edit that out if you want to, but I probably not.
No, it's all
Um,
good. It's all good.
so this is interesting because you've talked you sort of mentioned a couple of times like this thing that we're supposed to do, this life that we're
Mm,
supposed to live, right? And I remember actually I'm thinking way back to season 2. I had a series on what it means to sort of like be nomadic, and I had conversations with various people, and all of whom were told you're supposed to, graduate and then get the job so that the job can get you a house and or a family, and then poof, whatever, your life is solved. And that for
hmm.
each of them, they similarly decided like, I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to go the path because what else is there? What else do I know? And then
Right.
run into, their proverbial dead end. This doesn't work for me. This is a cul-de-sac
Hmm.
and I'm
Yes.
looking for an open road, right? And
Hmm.
so for you, what were the cul-de-sacs and what now feels like your open road? And I love a metaphor, so go ahead.
I'll say my biggest cul-de-sac is definitely working in corporate America.
Mm,
And because, and I'll talk about this right now. I'm in my second career. I started off as an accountant and I did it for a while, found it didn't work for me. I actually went back to school in 2018 to get a degree in aerospace engineering, which I loved learning. I loved being in school. I loved all that aspect of it. But once I got into the working world, and I'm still in there, um, just something about the 9 to 5 grind and having to, I don't know if it's answering to other people or what it is, but something about it just doesn't resonate with me. Something about
mm,
it makes me feel trapped,
mm,
um, just not like I'm being myself. And I think part of the reason that is because I found music and
mm-hmm,
making music. And in finding that, I found something that actually like speaks to me and makes me want to get up in the morning.
mm.
And so my past few years, I've been finding ways of how to basically fork off the corporate America path into a ways that I can monetize my music and basically make that my lifestyle.
I love that. And I think honestly, sometimes let's be real, like we have to be in some cul-de-sac moments. I think that's a generally a just part of life, or like even as a kid, like I couldn't control the cul-de-sac things, right? Like I can't dictate much of my life at that time. I was trying to be ambitious, but how ambitious can a 10-year-old be in that ecosystem? So um I want to say like I think there's sometimes in our life that cul-de-sac moments still can hold us, and we can still try to be what we can be in that space. And I like this metaphor a lot because I grew up in a cul-de-sac that met the back of the highway, and there was a huge brick wall at the end of it.
Hmm.
And I mean, it literally looked like a dead end. But the gift of that is like every street that was on that row were all cul-de-sacs, but you could see straight through all the rows. If you were looking perpendicular, you could see straight through to a park. Like, I mean, we're talking about 10 blocks down, right? And that
Hmm.
even in all those sort of dead ends or cul-de-sacs, there was still some pathways. Even, you could sneak into the behind the one layer of the brick wall. And if you wanted to be wild, you could be on the highway, walking on the
Yeah.
highway, right? Like, so even
Yeah.
in these moments, there's some what you kind of describe feels like the antidote, right? If the sickness or the challenge is like feeling stuck or feeling like, I'm not really being able to make my own way, the antidote is like for you is been music.
Hmm.
So I want to hear a little bit more about like how music feeds your being, both like you as a human being, but your ability to be. What does that look like right now for you? I mean, we see you got the whole setup, so you're really in it. Like,
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. How's it feed my being? It's it's more of a feeling that I get when I'm creating something because I mean, I've been in music a lot of my life because I was in high school bands
Shout
and
out high
middle school
school
band.
band. Oh, in middle school? Okay. You
Yeah.
sound been about that life.
Yeah, but it wasn't until I started like producing, making beats that I felt I could create like whole songs on my own or create these whole soundscapes that like when you're a part of a band, you're like doing your part, you're like a piece of something. But when I was making beats, it was like I was creating my
Mm,
whole own thing. So something about just being able to create something from nothing and like being like, I made that, I did that,
mm.
and it sounds dope.
And it
That,
do.
yeah, thank you. That is what basically feeds my being.
I feel like this theme of like being able to almost take a driver's seat in our own lives.
Exactly.
Um, for some people that looks like being an entrepreneur. So, I'm surrounded by entrepreneurs. I tried the,
Hmm.
I ran my own consulting firm for a number of years and um really was like, the full-time entrepreneur life is just not for me. I want to be in the driver's seat, but like in the driver's seat of like a racetrack. So there's like a
Hmm.
specific there's a route, but I'm driving, right? And
Well, I want
for
to ask you a question
uh-huh.
about that, or what was it about the entrepreneurial life that didn't
Oh
resonate?
man, that's a great question. Most of the time, I didn't really mind. So some of the main challenges that come with entrepreneurship is like the precarity, right? Like some months I was like, I
Yes.
mean, rolling in the dough. I was like, I was turning clients away because I was just so
Hmm.
busy. My team just couldn't do another thing. And there were some months I'm like, so I guess I ain't gonna get paid. And too, and I
Yeah,
had a
no.
full-time job, right? So like
Yeah.
that precarity, but like that though, challenging, I was an entrepreneurish because I still had a full-time job, sometimes two full-time jobs because I was a workaholic,
Hmm.
and all the things. But I think the main challenge for me was the wins didn't feel, and for me that's something that's important, like the wins didn't feel as life-giving for me or for the folks that I was impacting. And I will say some of that was at the earlier stages in my career. I wasn't I was motivated. I was motivated by the wrong things, right? It's like the number of clients that I can, say that I've worked with as opposed to like the quality of the work. And so actually in
Yeah.
2020, when things shifted in the world and I'm turning clients away. People left and right were like, we need a person and it's best for you to be black. Oh, and you gay girl, let me give you my money. And I'm like, I at that time could make better decisions and be more boundaried about who I want to partner with. So that shifted. But then
Hmm.
my life changed. But before that, I didn't have a sense of like real boundary and like what it looks like to partner with my clients.
Hmm.
It felt more transactional. So that didn't work for me in
Okay.
that case. And to be honest, like I'm a Virgo. God's still working on me. I like
Hmm.
stability. I like knowing things, I like A plus B go equal C. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just
Yeah.
is my personality. I've learned over my life to accept that A plus B could equal something else for
Hmm.
somebody else. But A
Yeah.
plus B for me gotta equal C most days. And so I just learned that about myself, but I still, consult here and there and still get
Hmm.
to do the things that I love. But I had like to be in the driver's seat in a different way though. But I appreciate
Yeah.
that question. It's really it's important distinction. So I think I don't know if you would describe yourself as entrepreneurial. Would you use that word for how you want to move in this world, or what does it look like for you?
I'm moving into that space because I'm still working corporate right now, but I'm starting to move into the entrepreneurial space. Um, I think you've talked about it with Admire, but I've started like selling my beats. And so I've been learning how to,
It's already been monetized. Okay.
yeah. So I've been learning how to do sales and all that stuff. And basically, I listen to a lot of business and entrepreneurial podcasts just so I can like learn the way to do it to make it. Because one of the biggest parts of it is the uncertainty, like you described.
Hmm.
And so one of the ways to work around that, I think, is to just do so much that like the uncertainty isn't there. So I'm trying to build up my work ethic because I do not have a good work ethic, at least when it comes,
Reframe that.
except when
Reframe that.
okay, when I'm not making beats, I don't have a good work ethic. So I need to figure out how to work that ethic into the other aspects of being an entrepreneur
Mm.
because that's been one of the biggest hurdles for me because I still have a lot of I guess anxiety about just like reaching out to people cold because I'm a shy kind of reserved person. So I can feel myself changing and growing in this process and I like that, but it's not a straight line. Like I'll have good days where I feel like I'm killing it and then I'll have another day where I just feel like I don't want to do anything.
Mm. I
And
mean, that's
so
like a definition
it's
of
like a roller
introvert,
coaster.
right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
like
exactly.
lose
Yeah.
energy just talking to people. It's like, I'm going to
Yeah,
do it. And
yeah.
then I can't talk to another person for 3 days. Like, please don't
Right.
make me do it. I will say in the years I've known you now, it's like I've seen change, and I'm not around you every single day, but I like definitely
Mhm.
see you really coming into your own. And I will say, like, why I said like reframe, I talk a lot about gratitude and like reframed gratitude and reframing. And sometimes you gotta call a thing a thing. Like you gotta be like, that sucks. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. Like sometimes you gotta just tell the truth. And a lot
Hmm.
of the time too, it's like if you have a clear sense of your purpose, I promise you, once you get to the business side and all the technical things that is beyond sort of the things I know that you love, because you have a clear sense of the why and what drives you, you're gonna be like, I got QuickBooks on lock because you're about to be making so much money, you need QuickBooks. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
think part of it is like for me in this life, and as I've thought about like, what does it mean for me to like, these aren't the phrase like to become, to be, whatever you want to call it. I think for me, what does it mean to become whatever that thing
Hmm.
is, either full stop or insert whatever I want to add to it. I think
Hmm.
part of it has been to say, like, what is driving me? What is my why? Generally, like, I mean, of course, you have your big why, but then, like, in every moment, right? Like, even back to why I chose to step away. There's many factors that went into that. Got married and became a stepmom. I thought it felt important to have more stability because my partner in crime is a true entrepreneur and will never want to work for anybody else.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, somebody got to be at home. Like somebody got to hold down the fort, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but so there was a lot in my life that shifted, but I think even in the moments when I can make boundaries or I can say like this doesn't work is because I had a clear sense of direction in every instance, right? So I had my
Mm.
big why and then I had the little whys that added up to that big why. So I would
Hmm.
be, I'm very curious, like I will say back up a little bit and be like, to me, to be is to be in purpose, to be in whatever your call is, and that every day don't got to look like you're doing that, but I
Hmm.
need to add it all up and it gets there for me.
Yeah.
That's what it means to be. And of course that includes resting and like doing nothing, all the things, right? But
Right.
for this conversation as it pertains to like what does it mean to be in your why, in your purpose? Do you have a clear sense of like what is driving you at this moment?
I have a few. Um, One of them is definitely what I was talking about, that feeling of being trapped or
Hmm.
that desire to be free. Like when I'm in an office, I don't feel free. I feel
Mm,
obligated. I feel like,
mm,
and then I don't know if it's the purpose of or like the purpose of like the company I work for or whatever, but I don't feel motivated there. So part of it is just feeling free, that aspect of freedom I'm looking for.
Hmm.
Part of it is her admire.
Shout out
Um,
to Admire, Marvelous. Now he'll, I mean, I used to call her AB. Now I'm like, what do I call her? Just gonna call her Aw.
AH,
Aw.
but she believes in me, and I want to be the best version of myself for her. And I feel
Aw.
like this is something that helps me be the best version of myself for her.
Mm.
And the other aspect of that is me thinking towards the future when we have kids.
Shout out
I
to them
want to
big
be
head babies.
I want to be able to show my kid what it's like to live your life to its fullest and feel fulfilled in what you're doing.
Mm.
I feel like if I'm living the life I am right now, like in this corporate space,
Mm.
I don't feel like I can convey to her. I almost feel like I'm like lying to her, not being truthful. I don't know why I'm saying
Mm.
her. I'm imagining I'm having a daughter, but I feel like I'd be
Okay,
lying.
manifest and attract. Okay, get this baby. Okay.
I feel like in order to be the best version of myself for my child and to teach them the things they need to navigate this world, I need to be living in my own truth.
Mm.
And so that's why that those are my biggest whys.
Let's go there because you said something good. I don't know. I can't remember because I'll be running my mouth. But part of what you said is so, so powerful, and I want to spend some time with it. We are responsible for ourselves, of course, and living whatever true lives feel like, for us. And then there's deeper motivation when somebody's watching, particularly you'll see, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And or who, for those who don't have children, whoever it is that you find like I want to, be an example for this person, this child, the next generation. I talked about legacy being about leaving evidence for the those who are coming after me, that I wanted something more for them, for myself, and for this world, whatever that looks like. And so in this instance, I'm thinking about my parents, and I still say parents because one was absent, but he was there for a tiny bit. And then
Hmm.
my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, I consider her as part of my care team when I was growing up. So the people who cared, worked their hardest with the tools they had to steward my little life, they had their own challenges. And I think, this we're talking about 60s, 70s, and 80s. There was a lot going on in the world. My grandmother grew up in Alabama, civil rights movement. I mean,
Hmm.
becoming wasn't, I'm just trying to like get home without dying type situation, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have the privilege to think about being in a way that I
Right.
think is different than our parents and our
I agree
grandparents.
with that 100%.
And so
Yeah.
we have a responsibility then, right? I mean, I'll just say for myself, I feel we do have a responsibility, which is why I talk a lot about the return. I return to 9-year-old Hazel. I look at her every day when I get in the car. There's a little picture of her, her little beads, her little school picture like that. And
Hmm.
I speak to her, I speak life into her because at the time, life was not being spoken into her.
Hmm.
And there was no evidence, as you were talking, there was no evidence of others both wanting a life for themselves that was different than what I saw. And wanting to
Hmm.
be true to themselves. Therefore, I couldn't imagine that, right? I had some thoughts like, that don't sound right because I hear you in there cussing him out every day. But you over here
Yeah.
like everything's great, right? So all of that to say, what is the sort of, I don't know, the toolkit, if you will, that you were given that allows you to have this mindset of we are beholden to both ourselves and to be the best version of ourselves for those who were the children specifically that will come from us or come around or through us, however it happens. Where does that mindset come from? And maybe you can, I don't know if that comes from your family line. I'm nosy and I know stuff about your family, so you can share
Yeah.
whatever you want, but you know what I'm saying?
I think one of the biggest places that mindset actually came from is my parents. They, like, of course, my mom wanted me to go to college. My mom and dad wanted me to go to college, get a job, but they always told me they just wanted me to be happy.
Hmm.
They didn't care what I was doing as long as I wasn't like breaking the law or anything, but they just wanted me to be happy.
Mm.
And so that allowed me to know that even if this path that I was set on wasn't the right one, if I could figure out another one and figure out how to make it make sense, they'll be okay with that.
Hmm.
Because I was never worried about, they never tried to make me do this kind of job. They never wanted me to like go in there, whatever path they went on. They wanted me to find my own path. And
Hmm.
so them kind of setting me on that path of finding my own path allowed me to, one, believe I could do anything I wanted to do, but two, also not be afraid to try different things, or like go back to school when I'm
I mean, yeah, it's
32 or
amazing.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I couldn't have done that without them. I was able to go back and live at home with them when I was not working and going to school, so I could just focus on that. Like they've just provided this avenue and this haven for me to just grow and develop. Even though
Mm.
I will say I feel like some people might say it's not as fast as, well, I try not to go by societal standards because they try to say you should be this and this is by what age, but I don't adhere to that. Like
Bump
we're all on
it.
our own journey.
Literally
So
bump all that. That's that.
yeah, so just they've allowed me to go at my own pace basically and
Mm.
figure things out on my own.
What is that? What does that look like now? Like you have this sort of, I just call it scaffolding to really kind of like do what works for you and know that you
Hmm.
have that support. And, now you should have, you're a husband, you're preparing to be a father and a friend and all the things you do. You're preparing to be a world-renowned producer. You know what I'm saying? So what is that like what has that like groundedness or what I would just say spaciousness like what has that opened up for you and have you thought more about like maybe because we talk about nuance in this I don't think growing up in poverty and living at the intersections I grew up in were great and I feel like I'm a bomb ass person. A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it really because of, and often in spite of the situations, but I am from those people. I am from that place and I'm made up of
Hmm.
all of that, right? And
Right.
so it's not net negative to have had the experience that I have had. And I'm super grateful. Shout out to God, like really big ups to that one
Hmm.
number one stunner right there, who really didn't, help the sister out. But for you, I really want to hear more about like how are you nuancing this life for yourself? The theme around rushing to adulthood is like, well, I didn't necessarily rush. It sounds like you had a lot
Hmm.
of support to ease into this adult life, but we still
Hmm.
here at our big age of 30 somethings, uh, dealing with some of the same life adulting things. So how are you
Hmm.
nuancing your experiences?
Can you elaborate on nuancing my
Yeah, so
experience?
like that's a thank you. So I'll be talking about stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, that made a lot of sense. Then it's like it's only as good as the person receiving it, right? Most times. But for me, right, when I nuance my life, you can
Hmm.
look at someone can look at your life and be like, well, by all, standards, you got nothing to worry about. You got nothing to complain about. Like you got to have this X, Y, and Z, whatever their own thought could
Hmm.
be about that. And by all standards, you should be, Hazel, you should just be like under a bed somewhere crying because your life was just so hard. And oh, maybe pity party for me and celebration for you, whatever, right? If people want to go the more pendulum swing route. But the
Hmm.
nuance lives there, right? Like I definitely had a difficult childhood, but I can tell you 150 ways that I still had fun.
Hmm.
I'm learning a lot still from those experiences. I do not recommend many of the experiences, but
Yeah.
shout out to them for helping me be who I am, right? So for you, when you're nuancing the experience that some might receive as like, um, what's the word that I'm looking for? Sort of like, you just didn't have to rush. You got to be. I got to rush
Hmm.
to learn to be. And now you're like, I just been being, right? But there's
Yeah.
nuance there. What does that look like for you? That it isn't necessarily so cut and dry.
Well, I will say it's not easy, um, because it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So I guess it's more like it's like an iterative process. It's like trying things, realizing it's not for you, and then moving on to the next thing and trying not to stay stuck.
Mm.
in the things that don't work for you. Because I will say there were times where like I worked accounting way longer than I probably should have because it's like you get comfortable.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest things that I'm trying to do with my life now is quote unquote get comfortable with discomfort
Mm-hmm.
or move towards things that make me uncomfortable because when you stay in those comfortable spaces, that's when you get stagnant
Mm-hmm.
and that's you stop growing. And so I've been trying to do things like cold outreach, things like that, just to help myself grow because I know in the past I've been stuck and I feel like I know better now how to get out of those spaces
Mm-hmm.
or just how to keep moving forward and keep growing. So I'm just trying to keep doing these things that make me uncomfortable so I can not stay in the same place.
That's wise too, because I think like if you're going to be uncomfortable, right, best be uncomfortable working towards your better self than be uncomfortable in the space where you're like, what the heck? Like every
Right,
day you
right.
might feel like, well, I don't want to do this, right? And then that comes across sometimes. Like I have been in so many spaces in my life where I'm like, I used to think that my face like wouldn't give me away, but I'm like,
Mhm.
listen.
Yeah.
It was a delusional thought, you know. It's a delusional
Yeah.
thought that my face isn't giving me away, but that I was like, "Oh, I'm happy," and everyone knows that can see that I'm happy. And somebody be like, "Hey, you're looking kind of upset." I'm like, "What?"
Hmm.
Because my first of all, my face, my body can't lie about the circumstance that we find ourselves in. If it's not working, it's gonna come out some way, right? So you're
Oh
gonna be
yeah, definitely.
uncomfortable either way. I'm a big proponent, like once you shout into the void, the universe, whoever you or whatever you ascribe to, like once you get that out there and that being essence, whatever, realizes that you got hip to the game, it will
Hmm.
be relentless. So if you
Yeah.
say to the moon, like, I can't be a stuck person, every time
Hmm.
you get into a place that's showing you stuck, it's gonna hurt more and more until you stop
Hmm.
falling into that pattern, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
that's how you get to a place of like, I'm just gonna go with like who I want to be and my why first. I'm just gonna lead there because I think as you mature, and as I'm hearing you talk, like as you grow in your knowledge of self, your disposition changes. So
Absolutely.
the first thing you do is not going to be like, well, let me try something that I know may not work or may not be comfortable for me, but let me see. Your disposition would be like, I know who I want to connect with. I know how I want to reach out, whatever the things are. I'm going to do that thing first. And even if
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable, who want to cold call except the salesperson who's a salesperson? Like, and maybe they
Yeah.
don't even want to do it. They're like, gotta, pep themselves up. Like, you would
Hmm.
rather be in that type of discomfort knowing it's moving you somewhere closer to your mission, your call, your purpose, than to do all the things we've been doing. And I think that that's the work. When I talk about what it means to heal in our adult life, it isn't just from like a, DSM-5 healing, like, oh, you go to
Hmm.
therapy all the time. Great. Shout out to therapy because I have a little bit of sense because of God and therapy. Like that's it,
Hmm.
really. But healing is such a I think more natural practice than we allow it to be. Healing doesn't have to
Hmm.
come in Western ways or going and sitting in a chair or on a Zoom nowadays with your therapist. Healing could literally be like, today I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock or whatever the crack of dawn you do, and I'm going
Hmm.
to do something that's good for my body. I'm going to put good things into my system, and I'm going to do what I love first. And I'm going to say
Hmm.
hi to my wife when she wakes up because she's not waking up at 5 o'clock. I'm going to say that.
Oh
So,
yeah, definitely not.
so,
Unless
so
there's a
I,
flight to catch. That's
she's
the only
up
time.
and bothering you. I know she is
Yeah.
because I'm the same way.
Hmm.
But I think that that to me feels like the gift we can give ourselves. And then if we are afforded the opportunity, give the people in our lives, however they come, our best selves. If we literally start with like, I'm just going to pour into myself everything that's getting me to the next best part of me. When I was
Hmm.
in, when did MySpace come out?
I think I got that around 2004 or five, somewhere around there.
Right, it's something
Four,
like that.
three,
We
2003, something
were
like
we
that.
in
Yeah.
middle school or I don't even know. And the I had not really put anything on it. But what
Hmm.
I put, you had to have your little tagline underneath
Yeah.
your name and picture. And the tagline I put there was forever becoming a better version of myself.
Oh, wow. You were
And
wise back then.
oh, child, I was somebody grandma. I've been somebody grandmama my whole life, I promise you. But what that has meant for me over my life and over my healing journey has really stayed about the same. And people are like, oh, you've changed. And I'm like, no, I am forever becoming. I am
Hmm.
working towards being my highest self, which should be hopefully still foundationally. I have the same print. Rock with the same principles. I'm the
Hmm.
same morally grounded person, but it has to change because I'm an adult and I have different tools now. And
Right.
so what I hear from you is like your version of forever becoming a better version or the highest version of yourself. And that music really helps you to feel empowered to do that, that you're inspired by your wonderful wife and your future little humans that you'll be producing in this world. Um, and I'd be curious for you. This is something as we move to sort of like the end of our conversation for those of us who are listening or watching who are still trying to figure out like what is what does it mean for me to choose me and pour into me in a way that doesn't feel necessarily selfish? Because I think that like thought comes to
Hmm.
people's mind, like I'm being selfish. What does it mean for you, to pour into the tomorrow you, the next year, whatever you? What does that mean? And specifically, what are you doing? So that we can get a little bit of wisdom for this journey, because I'm about to be taking some notes.
What does it mean? It's kind of what I was saying before, where for me to continue becoming that best version of me, that allows me to present myself to the world as the best version of myself so I can be the best version of myself for my wife and for my future child. And so just me trying to just continue to get better helps me to feel like I'm a better person in the world and actually helping the world instead of just because when I'm in those spaces where I don't feel like I'm creating or I'm doing anything meaningful, I don't really feel like any. I feel like I'm wasting my time, wasting myself. Like I don't really feel like anything basically.
Hmm.
And so for me to continue on this path of being the best version of myself, that just allows me to be a person of meaning and stature in the world.
Hmm.
And so
Admire.
things,
Yes,
oh,
sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, no, no. I'll
Yeah.
let you finish.
I was just going to answer the second part of the question. I mean, the things that I do that allow me to continue on this path is one, like you mentioned, get up early. I get up at 4:30 every day. And Myra's not a morning person, so she kind of thinks that's crazy. But one of the things that allows me to do is to focus on the music in the morning and the working out, like things that a lot of times like people would do after work. But when after work, a lot of times, I mean, I want to spend time with her. So it allows me
As
to
you should, you know what I'm saying? Good
cut out
husband,
time.
good husband.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Allows me to carve out time. Like I get up earlier so I can carve out time to do these things so then I can allow myself to have time to enjoy life later in the day.
Hmm.
So, you know.
As someone who it's not gonna be me. Again, the only time I'm waking up at the crack is for a flight. The end and emergencies. But please don't have no
Mhm.
emergency because I'm like a log. I'm asleep. Um, but I really appreciate that commitment, like your commitment to yourself while simultaneously holding your commitment to the person you've chosen and the life that you've chosen, I think is a really important thing to leave with. Because, Myra and we met in college, and the college motto was not alone into ourselves are we born. And there's a lot I can say about that college, but
Mhm.
I got three best things from that. I got admire, that beautiful motto, and a great mentor.
Mhm.
And that motto, not alone unto ourselves are we born, just take seriously community, take seriously that, we don't live and exist in vacuums. And that actually, if you look at history, most of what we've been able to accomplish towards the positive has been done, whether it be really small groups of community or mass groups of people moving on a particular thing. Those have been the places where you've seen the most traction, most positive energy in our world. And so I just think that you are so aligned with that process of being connected, and that
Hmm.
the way you do that is to be aligned with yourself, with your passion, and with your purpose. And then everyone just gets to be the beneficiary, you first and
Hmm.
foremost, and everyone gets to be a part of that. So it's been actually a really beautiful gift to watch you and to be listening even in this conversation as I learn more from you. And I really appreciate just how you see the world. And again, because so many of us might resonate with this topic of rushing to adulthood and being like, child, I had to raise everybody kids and I ain't had, whatever the things are. It's such a gift to move away, and at least for this moment, and I hope more moments come like this in my life and in everyone's life, where we get to see the beauty of being and becoming without all the extra.
Oh
We are
yeah.
actually all we're all better for it, right? Just by having access to you and your story and maybe others, and that might be in our own social networks. And so I'm super grateful for this conversation and your contribution to this, both this podcast and this life. So with that, I thank you so much for joining me on this journey of rushing to adulthood.
Thank you so much for
Bye.
having me.
Thank you.